You ever been right in the middle of God's will and you knew it? It's one of the most exciting things that you'll ever be able to experience, is to know that right at that very moment you are in the perfect will of God. And I share that with you because I pastor ReaLife Church in Hillsboro, Ohio. It's a great church. It's a small church that's on its way to seeing lives changed, is seeing lives changed. And a few months ago, a man came by and nothing but a duffel bag. That's all he had. He just had a duffel bag. But he came with a word. And that word was from a heroin addict who spoke to him and said, ReaLife Church has hope. ReaLife Church can offer some help. And so he came to see us. And as he came to see us, he dropped off on a Sunday morning just a duffel bag. And I was on the worship team that morning, and he asked to see me. And we went outside and we talked for a moment before church began. And he began to tell me his dilemma and his situation, how he needed hope. And we're ReaLife Church, real hope for real people. And we know that God can touch lives and change people. I don't care their background. I don't care what they've been through, who they are, how deep that pit is. Jesus is able to heal them. And so that morning, that gentleman came and he gave his life to Jesus. Sunday night, he returned to church. Which sometimes you see people come to an altar in the morning but don't come back Sunday night. He came back Sunday night, but he wanted to share at the end of that. And he stood up before the congregation. He said, I want you to know why I will not be back next Sunday. I'll not be back because I've got to go somewhere to get help. And our church proceeded to help him find a Christian rehabilitation center or a discipleship program for him to enter into. And some ladies from our church on Monday carried him to a program that we often refer people to, and even drive them to get help and to enter the program. Their beds were full, and were not able to help at that particular moment. And so he comes back, and a member of our church takes him in on Monday, and Tuesday morning comes around, and we decided to take him to another ministry, and a ministry that's longer. But at the same time, it's longer. It's a place where he would go live. It's a place where they would teach him about Jesus and begin to help disciple him to overcome. We got a letter from him a few months ago. He's doing great. He's been there about 6 months. The last letter actually was last week, I believe. And he's doing great. God has transformed his life. He said it's hard, but it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I share this story with you because not only is this young man's life changed, but he had a friend. And that friend happened to be walking by our church one day, not walking here to the church, but walking by it. And as he was walking by it, there was some ladies already in the church, and he decided to stop by, and he remembered the name ReaLife Church, and he knew that his friend had came to ReaLife Church to find hope. And it happened to be a Tuesday night, and that's when we have a recovery service here, a faith-based recovery service where we pray for one another and have some biblical teaching on how to overcome life hurts, habits, and hang-ups. And so this gentleman comes in, and he comes in that Tuesday night, and he comes in the next following Tuesday night, and after our small group time, he's weeping, and he just tore up, and he don't have anywhere to go that is a safe environment. He had came the first time, and then went home and began to use meth, and just methed himself up basically. And so he didn't have anywhere to go, but he needed the number one thing he needed in his life was Jesus. He needed a relationship with him, and so we prayed together, and he invited Christ into his life, and I told him I loved him. He began to cry even more. He said, I haven't heard those words in so long. And so people need love, and we offered this to him. But it didn't stop with our prayer, and it didn't stop with our emotions and how we felt about him. It didn't stop with our prayer life. We decided that we would find help for him. So immediately I get on the telephone. I call an intake director of another Christian program that I know. I explained his situation. They said they'll interview him the next morning. So the Rusty, the gentleman that's in charge of our jail ministry now, who took my place, drove him to the ministry where he entered for 6 months of Christian discipleship. Now, I say these things to you is because when you get right in the middle of the will of God, God will open up all kinds of doors for you to reach out, to minister, to change lives, to bear fruit. The problem is we need to get right in the middle of the will of God. Not be so self-consumed. Not just be about our own lives and about our own business. And then at the end of the day, we wonder why we're not satisfied and why we're not complete and why we feel like we need this and we need that. You know, brother, sisters, what we really need is to bend our knee to Jesus.